Hello and welcome to No Splinters. We're back. It's the Christmas special, number 12, I think. I've got Harvey alongside me. We're in touching distance this week.
That's it, mate. It's a bit too close for comfort, really.
Remember, there's a mic in front of you. You're not on Zoom this time.
I know, mate.
Oh.
Not David Moyes.
Not David Moyes, champion on Zoom. We were alongside fellow housemate of mine, George Ellaby.
Mate, thanks for having me. Only 12 podcasts late, really, but thank you.
Better late than never, mate.
Yeah, I thought I'd get him along, get someone to speak some posh northern sense, Harv.
Yeah, that's it.
Where do we start? I mean, have you had a good Christmas? We'll have a little bit of intro, I think.
Yeah, steady away, can't moan.
You did the cooking, didn't you?
No. Let's not get carried away.
No, you're not your job. You're not a man of the kitchen.
No, I did the chopping.
Chopping.
It's the most important job.
Most chopping you've done all year, isn't it?
Yeah.
We won't talk about that. There's one sip. George, good Christmas?
Yeah, mate, it was all right, to be fair. Quite nice to have the family home for once.
Nice
so.
bit home.
Yeah.
All of you. Good, happy days. All right, let's get stuck into it then. Premier League, I mean, there's been sort of 2 rounds, hasn't there, since we've sort of done the last one, and obviously it was Boxing Day and stuff. Leeds United, I mean, the last podcast I think we did, we were talking about Leeds United getting beat 6-2 away at Old Trafford. Things seem to have changed. I remember your words were, we've got 2 games to make it right. And
yeah, we have, mate.
I think you've made it right, haven't you?
I told you Bielsa's a man, and
Oh.
Is that,
live breaking news.
Yeah, breaking news.
It's all right.
Harry's forgot to turn his phone off. No, yeah, well, I mean, just sat there with glee. Bielsa ball versus Brexit ball. 2 rounds of it. It was Bielsa ball 6, Brexit ball 0. Leeds versus Burnley for me is the more encouraging result that we can change. We can sort of match the physicality in the Premier League with a weakened squad. Makeshift back 3. I didn't know if you saw the formation. Bielsa went 3-3-3-1. Which is, I think that's the first for match of the day to have a formation like that lined up. Phillips in the back line was excellent, just what we needed in terms of a bit of presence, a bit of physicality. Stroik did brilliant. Pamford got his penalty, took it well. But no, it just shut all the clowns up, and that result down at your gaff, George, is looking more like an anomaly every day, because the goals have dried up as well at Old Trafford, which is good to see, really.
Yeah, obviously George is a United fan, unfortunately. We've got Leeds, United and Liverpool here. George, you catch much of Leeds over Christmas?
Obviously saw them play Man United, and I went to a friend's house and he left after 4 minutes, so
don't blame him.
That was a good start.
That's a bit like Harvey, his WhatsApp was off after 3 minutes.
Bless him.
Yeah.
No, mate, I didn't, to be fair, I haven't really watched them. I do agree that they play nice football, but I also think that the comment last night on Amazon about them blowing out towards the end of the season, there's got to be some context there.
We're going stuck in.
Some lazy punditry on Amazon, and it's carried on today in HG3 on it. Well, the Bielsa burnout myth.
Go on then. What do you make of Karen Carney? What do you think?
I mean, she's obviously a very good women's footballer.
Oh, here it comes.
She's obviously done well enough to get on Amazon. And she clearly has no idea what she's on about.
Are you going to get off that fence? Or, I mean, this is No Splinters.
She's a fucking idiot. There we go, mate. I'll say it right now. She deserves everything she's going to get, barring the obviously no room for the sexist abuse, because that's just poor. You can outdo a point without having to bring in that she's a woman. If it was a man saying that, there wouldn't have been as much uproar. But I think the point is just an absolute nonsense point. As you see with Leeds, it's just easy to throw cheap jibes at us at the minute, and it was good to see the club standing up for themselves for once. Been in the mire too long. It's good to see, really.
Yeah, no, I thought it was good from Radzani, whatever you want to call him. You're the man with the pronunciations. Rads. I thought it was good the way that he came back. I think Annie, some footballer, obviously achieved a lot. She came back and said that basically it was an insult to Leeds United Football Club. And to be honest with you, I mean, I've had my words with Leeds over the year, and I thought it was an absolute disgrace what she said, mate. Yeah. I thought it was an absolute shambles. And the gripe that got me more than anything is that everyone's allowed them to act their opinion. That's what they're paid for. But it's the way that there was certain parts of the media and specifically from women footballers who came out and they sort of said that it was basically insinuated it was sexist. There was about 3 or 4 of them, and that was who Rads went back to on Twitter. Yeah. And I thought it was absolute nonsense, because Leeds, I went through some tweets last night and I put one out on my own personal Twitter and said that obviously that Leeds tweeted a load of things that Gabby Agbonlahor had said, and they went for him, and it got 72,000 favourites on their account, and not one word was there mentioned about Agbonlahor getting unfair criticism. As soon as it comes out it's a woman, it was just seen as if, oh, this is unfair, you're targeting her because she's a female, and it was absolute bollocks. It griped me, because I've absolutely no problem with women in punditry in terms of some of them don't deserve to be there.
News
to you.
to me.
But some of them don't deserve to be there. But Alex Scott's brilliant, to be honest.
Yeah.
I think she's a really good pundit, and she talks a lot of sense. And as long as there is that sense, but this was absolute tosh, and the way that people sort of insinuated she didn't deserve the criticism, I thought was unfair, and she deserved everything she gets without the abusive
there's sexist
personal.
abuse, but it's the same with Bong Lahore. If there was racist abuse towards him, it'd be the same thing. The thing is, the point was that ridiculous. You don't need to stoop to any level and just to point out what a fucking stupid thing to say. Like, if you watched Leeds before lockdown, we won 5 on the bounce, and actually the momentum, we were like, this is it, this is the big mo, this is it, 2-3 more wins. And it was after the Huddersfield game when Ayling scored a volley after 5 minutes from the edge of the box, and it,
Naughty that.
you know, you just think, all right, this is it, this is our year, we're gonna do it next year, no sort of bottling it. And actually we didn't burn out, we finished 3rd, and the 2 teams that went up were Sheffield United that pipped us the first season. So we didn't, I mean, bottling it is an understatement. It's more we just lost our head a bit. Thank you. You know, pundits are. I mean, even Jimmy Floyd Hasselbank's a fucking idiot. I'll be, you know, how he gets a job, I do not know really. he just goes there, and I think he's had too much time in Amsterdam the way he carries on and slurs his words.
Well, you know, man of yourself. I mean, you're giving some CBD. We've got some, if you're watching on YouTube, we've got some CBD.
Yeah.
George, you got any words to finish on that?
So this is where it might get controversial. I actually don't think it was that stupid a comment. And I knew that I'd get peppered on this coming on today with a fanatical Leeds United fan, so I thought I'd just look into it. And under Bielsa, teams have traditionally faded. That's the comment. That's not saying that Leeds United, I think they would have gone up. I definitely agree that they deserve to go up, and I think they'd have gone up anyway without COVID. But the actual comment itself isn't stupid. I mean, you look at how Bielsa's gone at Bilbao, Marseille, and Leeds. There is a pattern of starting well, which I think you will struggle to disagree with, and fading towards the end of the season. And that's where I think the comment's aimed at, but it was definitely poorly delivered.
I mean, the only sort of caveat to that is the Marseille point is if you look at his Marseille record, he started off well, and they did tail off. But actually, if you look at Leeds, he's had full control of the club throughout. So actually, you've got to judge him on. He has to have full control. He has to have the squad he wants. He has to have the training ground how he wants. And you know, you look at the sort of the myth that Leeds are fading already when they lose 6-2 at Man United. Well, they outrun Burnley, gritted out a 1-0 win, and then absolutely shellacked West Brom last night. Even Big Sam said they outrun him, and he hadn't changed his squad for 3 games. So you see managers like Frank Lampard changing the game because they've got too many games coming up. But Leeds as a whole play the same squad over and over, and it didn't look like they were burnt out yesterday.
Yeah, I like that line from Dean Smith. I don't know if you saw it, but I've never taken anyone off with exhaustion. He's never seen anyone go down with exhaustion. And Gary Lineker put it out on Twitter as well. Said it was quite interesting that it is a fact. I mean, there is a lot of discussions about people going down with injuries and being tiredness, and I don't think people get naturally go down with exhaustion and tiredness. It's just, I think the injury amounts go up, don't it, in terms of the percentage of the likelihood of getting an injury. I mean, Klopp discusses it as a red zone. As soon as a player hits a certain amount of numbers, or they've reached a certain sort of distance covered in a period of time, it's the red zone, and they take them out because that's where they've worked out injuries are more likely to occur. And the thing about Leeds United, I mean, they were the best. You look at them, they've come up this season. I mean, I'm sure you're going to mention it. They've sort of got the best start of the season of any promoted side ever. And to be fair to them, I said it about Arsenal earlier in the year. Leeds United going to Man United. It's never, you don't look at that and go, Leeds should get 3 points. At the end of the day, if they can get a point, it's a great result. There's no doubt about that. It's a big club, big side, and Leeds United seem to be winning the games. They're beating all the sides around them and below them. I don't think
the only bad result for me is the only 2 bad results are
Wilton and West Ham.
West Ham and Crystal Palace. And Crystal Palace, we got, you know, VAR had a play, but you shouldn't be losing 4-1 to Crystal Palace. But Leeds as a whole last night was absolute. I mean, for me, I know you were tweeting about him, and I don't know if you saw the game, but you know, we've added 2 quality players into that starting 11, Rodrigo and Rafinha, both scoring, and for me, £17 million for Rafinha.
He'll look good in Man City colours next year, though, won't he?
Yeah, well, if they give us 80 million, I think I could maybe just pallet that, because 80 million would be decent. But yeah, I mean, you look at some of the signings, especially like Pepe, 70 million from the same league as Rafinha. You know, Rafinha's done more in 2 games than Pepe's done in 2 seasons for Arsenal. So, you know, it just shows that there's obviously something right going on at Ellen Road with recruitment. We have typically been bad in the market, but for whatever reason now, I think just the way that Orta's having 4 seasons now at Leeds, Bielsa obviously has disciples all around Europe that watch hundreds of hours of games.
Biggest side in South America.
The biggest names in South. So like you just look at that bit of business and you think, we're on to something good when you're signing a player of that quality.
Yeah, no, I agree with Rafinha. He looks like an absolute player, and as George just mentioned, Man City. Yeah, he could be at Man City soon, but maybe they're not going to be playing any football. I mean, apparently Man City don't need to play football if they've got a few injuries and players that are ill. I mean, Kyle Walker's had a few parties, maybe, who knows?
Not shy, is he?
Not shy. He's not shy breaking a few rules. I mean, I think it's an absolute joke. I'm just going to say this. It's not a biased thing. You look at the reports that came out before the start of the season, and my point is, just so you know, we're talking about Man City's obviously game against, who are they playing, Newcastle?
No,
Everton.
Everton last night.
Everton, yeah.
Boxing Day.
Yeah, against Everton got cancelled the other day because Man City obviously had a few players that had tested positive for coronavirus, and the statement came from the Premier League at the start of the season was, as long as there's 14 fit players, we're going to make you play, and this whole sort of 2-week winter break that everyone's asking for now, or Big Sam is, because he's 66 and ill, and he's just taken a new job at a big club on,
take a job
on millions
in the middle
of pounds
of a pandemic,
a year,
mate.
exactly, and gone, oh, it's actually a bit dangerous for me. I mean, Gary Neville's spot on his Twitter today. He said that what's going to change in 2 weeks' time. I mean, nothing's going to change. We're not going to get this vaccine out, and football needs to exist. And Man City not to play. I mean, they've got the biggest squad probably in the world. They've got one of the biggest.
Well, they hijack players from every academy in the area, and then they have 10 teams for every youth.
I mean,
level.
if it's not a Liverpool thing, but and there's been so many teams who've had injuries throughout the season. But if you've got 12 injuries, you don't get to pause a game.
No.
Because there's a bit of illness, and people are going to turn around and go, oh, it's safety and blah blah blah. But we've been doing this. Where does the safety go from having 2 people who've got coronavirus to 3 or 4? I mean, it's an absolute nonsense. And for the Premier League to bow down to Manchester City it is disgraceful. I mean, it just shows Man City get away with most of it.
The biggest victims in this are Leyton Orient, because they were playing Spurs in the third round of the Cup. Got kicked out of the Cup, then Man City are going to play your lot, and now they're going to say they're going to postpone it because it's a semi-final. Well, hang on a minute. Well, Leyton Orient didn't get the same sort of treatment against Spurs, so I think that actually as a whole, it's set an interesting precedent. But obviously Newcastle had a game postponed as well because of COVID earlier on, but I mean they're struggling anyway now because
they had 12 players apparently there.
And Sunderland, I mean, if you look down the league, Sunderland, they've had 3 games called off because of COVID. And then, look at some of the League One, like Donny Rovers. I don't know if you saw, if we look talking as football as a whole for precedent, Donny Rovers actually wanted to play the game with a half squad because they didn't want the fixture backlog. And they've got COVID, Rochdale, loads of other teams have it, but Man City, for some reason, just think they have a divine right to say, well, we're actually just going to, stop playing.
I think you're both right. I think when you say that you set a dangerous precedent, I think that's exactly what's happened with City now. We've kind of been allowed not to play it, and I think it's a point where do you draw a line in the sand and say, I mean, to me, if you've got 14 fit players, that's the rules and you should play. I can't see the issue there. I can't see why they've not played.
There's no issue there. I mean, every team at some point in the league is going to have COVID. Look, Rodrigo had COVID, out for 2 weeks, but luckily it didn't spread to the rest of the squad. But we just got on with it. And, arguably our best player at the time was available, and he's got COVID. We get on with it, and it just stinks of hypocrisy, and it's dangerous for the league because once the rules are broken, it's like how far can you break the rules, really?
Yeah, I know. They got to set a precedent at the start of the season. I suppose once they bowed down to Newcastle, they shut their training ground and they said, right, well, they've shut your training ground. Now we've got to cancel the game. Man City just went, oh, we've shut our training down. Yeah. Same rules apply. And for me, I don't think that's fair. I mean, but their backlog's going to get crazy. You look at sort of the Champions League football, cups and stuff. It's going to get to a point in the season where they'll no doubt turn around and Pep will go, it's now dangerous, and they'll go, we want these 5 subs again. And obviously, I'm a massive Klopp fan, but I've been very hypocritical. I've been very critical of Jurgen Klopp for saying, I mean, there was that Spurs game where we won in the last minute. We didn't even make a substitution. I mean, to say that 5 subs would be a benefit to the top teams is factually correct, but also these managers don't use them, so when they're begging for them, it doesn't really make sense. But I think we'll move on to
just finalising that point. If you look at Man City's next 2 games, it's Chelsea and Man United. So, and then Everton. There were 3 games there that it just stinks a bit of get on with it, really.
Interesting to see if they had Leeds United if they postponed it.
Yeah, well, here he is.
Fancy the chances there, battering through.
Well, he couldn't beat us at Ellen Road, so
no,
I doubt it.
You'd have won with fans, as you say.
Fans.
Well, I think we've got 2 things that Harvey might enjoy. I think George will probably enjoy it as well. Right, I'm going to go with Chelsea first. I just want to mention Chelsea. I mean, Fragile Frank, seems to be getting a real reputation. I've seen a few Chelsea fans calling him Fat Frank these days.
Yeah, it's good
They
to
seem
see.
to be turning one of their own.
Good to see.
I heard him at the start of the season or last year. He's a club legend. He's the greatest ever. We'll never turn on him. And you're just looking at a few Chelsea fans out there thinking, what on earth have we got here? We've got a lad who doesn't know what he's doing, doesn't know from his arse from his elbow, and we could do with a proper manager.
I could have told you that after watching him at Derby.
Yeah, well, yeah, it's true. I mean, you said it then, but they did beat Leeds United in the playoff semi-final.
He's only ever, before. I mean, fucking hell, you're going to drag back some memories. He had me crying in a minute, but no.
Yeah, no. So he didn't do that bad a job. Magical Bielsa didn't manage to beat Frank in a semi-final. But anyway, George, what have you thought about it? I mean, Harvey will sit there twitching.
With Chelsea, they're not playing the players in the right positions. That's the main thing. I think we look at the start of the season. They started off with Werner up top, and they were champions in waiting for the first couple of weeks. A lot of people. And now they've changed it, and they just look like a team that are not quite sure of where the goals are going to come from. And it is quite nice to see Frank kind of falling apart on the touchlines. So I think if they can get a formation, they've got the players, and it helps when you've got a lot of money behind you. But
it does help, doesn't it?
There's no reason that team on paper shouldn't be challenging, especially this year for the title. And I think that comes down to the manager.
Yeah, well, for me, Lampard, I've said it for weeks now, and why buy a £50 million German international striker and try and turn him into a winger? Like, that is not Werner. Werner is rapid. Werner is a clinical one-on-one finisher. Like,
is he?
Yeah.
Is he? Why? Why'd you say that?
Well, just look at his proven form in the Bundesliga last season.
But what's he done in the Premier League, mate?
Yeah, but what I'm saying is he's playing out of position.
Yeah, but it's not Lampard's fault that the bloke can't finish himself off. I mean, like, he just doesn't know what he's doing.
Yeah, because he's playing out of position, and that's what I'm saying is if you've got Ziyech,
if he's in front of goal, he's got one with the keeper. It doesn't matter if you're a centre-back or an attacking midfielder or a wide player or a striker. At the end of the day, you're in that role. And he should be clinical enough to finish them off. He's missing simple chances game after game after game. And I agree with you, he might be more effective through the middle. I've no doubt he would be. But he's getting chances and he's missing them. I mean, for me, I think the big miss for Chelsea, I mean, you look at they've spent this money on Havertz. I mean, I'd be trying to find that receipt. Have you got an invoice?
The only winner there is Bayer Leverkusen and his agent.
There's a few of those German players that have...
Question though, would you sign Diego Costa then to score some goals?
Valid. But
they've already got one aging striker on the books with Giroud. They're not on another one, do they?
Yeah, but you only need to pay him for 6 months or whatever. That is a good question, to be fair. I was thinking about...
He's off to China, isn't he?
He's going to milk the money, there's no doubt.
But grass is greener, doesn't he?
You think, obviously, I think Costa and Lampard would have probably played together at the end of their career, Lampard's career, wouldn't they? Definitely did, in fact. So yeah, I'm sure...
I think he brings him something they're lacking at the moment.
He definitely does.
Grit. And that's the problem when you've got a young squad and a load of lads who haven't played in the Premier League before. Is you've got lads learning the way in what is probably the toughest league.
The big miss is Ziyech. I mean, that goes without saying for me. I think he's been by far the best player. When he's been on the pitch, he's been the difference. He's sort of... I'm not going to compare him to Bruno Fernandes because as much as I'd dislike to say
players,
I know, but in terms of a player of an influence that Bruno Fernandes has at Manchester United is just phenomenal. But Ziyech seems to make them tick. I mean, I don't think Jorginho's a good enough player. I mean, Christensen is an absolute shambles of a footballer. I remember him earlier in the season. He took down Mane and he got red carded, didn't he? And then obviously at the weekend he went down crying when him and Grealish got in a tangle.
Well, yeah.
And I just thought that Aston Villa should have taken them to... I mean, we can mention that Arsenal obviously battered them, and fair play to Arsenal. They tactically outperformed them. But Aston Villa should have turned them up at Stamford Bridge. And Villa are a proper side. There's no doubting that their potential. They've got some great players. I think Watkins getting a lot of credit, and I personally think he is. They're missing. If they had a quality centre forward, I think he misses a lot of chances. You look at, I think when they played.
Well, they had Samatta, didn't they? Got rid of him.
Yeah, I think, but they've got. I mean, El Ghazi's coming on strong. Barkley's obviously out, but Jack Grealish, he played. I watched both of those Aston Villa's games this week, and I just thought, what a player. I think with a striker in front of him who's an absolute bagsman, sort of someone like Jamie Vardy who's got pace running in behind.
Werner.
Werner if he could finish. I think he'd be an absolute threat. Like I think he could be playing any team in the world. I mean that. I think he's good enough to play in any side of the world. Grealish, I really do. I think you can. I think he's got the ability. I watch him on the pitch, even against Chelsea, and he just oozes that confidence, that control. He's got a bit of class about him.
Defo following in Gazza's footsteps.
Yeah, he knows
on and off the pitch.
Makes Kyle Walker look 10, doesn't he?
Yeah, he went to Kyle Walker's party. That's where his bad do. Yeah,
he'll be taking a fishing rod to a serial killer's house.
But no,
Stella.
He'll be turning up at a murder scene.
Murder scene. I mean, we talk about that. I mean, I felt like that on whenever it was. I lose track of the days at Christmas when the Baggies turned us over.
Yeah.
You enjoyed that one, didn't you?
Yeah,
I think the whole country did, if I'm honest.
I think everyone but you enjoyed that, mate.
I think I was sat there at half time saying that we've already won the league
Yeah.
and engraved the trophy.
Yeah, you were asking for a decent trophy engraver near Liverpool, but it's the world comes at you fast, as in football. I know that, being a Leeds fan, and you've had it all your own way for a couple of seasons.
16 years wasn't that fast.
Well, it's been a long time.
Do you think that that's a game plan to get at Liverpool, though? Absorb pressure and then hit them on the break? Because I was looking at this year in review, which I know we'll come on to later, and it was a bit like one of my highlights I put down was the Atletico masterclass. And I know Atletico are a completely different side, chalk and cheese to West Brom, but there was a blueprint there which was absorb the pressure and hit them on the break.
Yeah.
Do you think that's a game plan? That
Yeah,
Liverpool
I do. I think
susceptible to.
I agree. I think when you let Liverpool play, you won't get close to them. No side in the Premier League will get close to them.
No.
It's the same sort of principle that I used against Leeds United in terms of Manchester United. They let Manchester United were allowed to play through Leeds, and Leeds'
they
game
waited
plan was
for
all
the
wrong.
mistake, didn't they?
But Liverpool, when you close up shop against Liverpool and you make them hard to break down, Spurs did it in a different sort of way. The difference I thought, and I the first half I was watching West Brom and I thought they were shambles in terms of they literally had no intention. It looked like they had no intention of winning that game. They just sort of I thought they were folding. And they came out second half and they put a striker up top and they changed their game plan. And Sam Allardyce, from a few people, Matt Gregson, gets a lot of criticism about...
What was it, 4-6-0?
Yeah, clown. He gets criticised for the way he plays, but he changed it in that second half, and I think he surprised Jurgen Klopp. He outfoxed them, and Liverpool didn't... West Ham had a couple of chances in that early of the first half and at the end of the second where they could, I'm not saying they deserved to win the game because they absolutely didn't, but they could have nicked it. And Liverpool, you're right. The Atletico Madrid one was different because Atletico Madrid did put men behind the ball, but Liverpool were by far the better side and missed clear chances. I don't really recall big chances missed by Liverpool. I thought that Firmino one at the end was a great save. Great header. I mean, Firmino's shown with his head he's one of the best in the Premier League recently. He's so good. But I didn't really think we had... I don't look back at that game and go, we should have won that game because there was no real opportunities. No. Atletico Madrid, we absolutely humped them. I think we had 25 shots on target and Oblak was a freak. We didn't really test the keeper, and then it's disappointing when you see a week later Leeds United just days later waltz through them.
I think West Brom though actually probably backed themselves against Leeds United, and that's not trying to ride.
Well,
they only
finished
but like
a few points behind.
You'd back yourself against not Liverpool. Essentially, and like no matter how much we dress Leeds up, Leeds are not a Champions League side.
No.
So like you'd go into that game at home, backing yourself.
Well,
I think
it's a table rival, isn't it?
Yeah.
I mean, Big Sam obviously knows you need to win some games to stay up. Obviously knows Sherlock, but he'd fancy taking on Leeds versus Liverpool. But I think he just caught Leeds in a bit of form in terms of that clean sheet obviously made a massive difference. You could see the players were playing a lot more relaxed. They were playing the football, but Big Sam, he has an own goal after 5 minutes, which was, I mean, if you haven't seen it, have a watch. I mean, it's a class own goal, great finish. And then ever since then, it was just like, and actually what he did at half-time was similar to Liverpool. So he played a back four against Leeds. Half-time, he took off Matt Phillips, his attacking midfielder, put on Ivanovic as a centre-back, but the game's gone at 4-0, really.
Yeah,
and it did stop us playing it a little bit more, but there was just so much space in that midfield for Leeds to just run riot. I just think we caught them on an off day and we had a good day. I don't think you can read too much into West Brom's season from those sort of 3 games. I think Big Sam needs a striker massively because they had no pace.
They've not got a very good side.
They've got no out ball.
If they stay up, I'll be impressed.
Well, Pereira's a good player, but he needs class around him.
Brentford would probably a better side last year in the Championship. We all would have preferred him to go up. The manager's a bit of a weirdo, but we'll leave him alone.
Takes one to know one, has, doesn't it?
Well, nice to meet you. Liverpool, obviously, I still think we'll absolutely coast the league. I really do. I think.
Do you?
Yeah, I think the only side that can come close is Man City if they put some performances together. Obviously, they'll have a nice rest from COVID. Well planned from Manchester City, but the side that I've said it from day one, and I'm saying it now, and I've said it before. Manchester United have a Championship-winning squad. I have no doubt about it. I think I've been laughed at in many a group chat that I've said Manchester United with a top manager could win the league this year. Manchester United could win the league this year with a PE teacher. There is no doubt in my mind that Manchester United can win this title. They're in the title race. A win last night against Wolves. They're grinding results out when they're playing terrible. I mean, and they've lost a few games, don't get me wrong, but everyone else is. This isn't going to be a 90-odd point season. It's going to be the 80-point mark.
Especially with COVID breaking up every 5 minutes.
We were discussing it just before we came on air, and I was about to kind of use an infamous Neil Warnock quote. The best thing about the game was, the roast chicken I had at half-time because it was dreadful. I mean, it was awful to watch, and I'm $12.99 Amazon have had me, over a barrel there as well. So good night all round, fuming. But
Jesus.
Could have borrowed my prime.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, I think we've been awful pretty much most of the year, but somehow we're 2 points off top, and you can look at that from a glass half full perspective, which says if we do click, what does that say for the rest of the league? And the chances are that, you know, as long as, to me, it's Fernandes. If he stays fit, we've got a
best
chance.
player in the league without doubt. He is the best.
Problem
player in the
is,
Premier League.
if you know,
if
he does go down, then I think we go down the table as a result as well.
He is the batteries in your clock or whatever it is. He makes you tick. There is no question about it. He is by far the best player in the Premier League, and I'm saying that with Salah and all these brilliant players. I'm not about in form this season. There is no player, I believe, without Salah. Obviously, I think Liverpool can play, and I think without De Bruyne, Man City won the league.
There's not many one-man teams in that league, is there really?
He is so imperative to them, and I'd watch him, and I think everything Manchester United do well, it's him, and he's got the grit. I mean, I don't think he is club captain, but he should be club captain. In terms of, he is the leader on that pitch. Anytime there's an issue, he's fighting back for the ball. He is the symbol of what Manchester United sort of have missed over the last few years, and he's everything Paul Pogba isn't.
Yeah,
he's
got
the
arrogance, but he's got the arrogance, but it's sort of intelligent. You know, he's got everything at the club at the size of Manchester United. You need a player that is going to come on the pitch, take the piss, score the goals, and he don't back out of challenges.
This is the thing,
like,
is that
he's got it all.
I think the
got
greatest
everything.
compliment you can give him is a bit like I was thinking about Klopp as well, is that if he's not on your side, you hate him.
Yeah.
But that's because you want him on your side, and if he is on your side, then you're absolutely laughing. And I think he has been the catalyst for the only reason we got in the Champions League, and he's probably the only reason we're going to get anywhere near the Champions League this year.
And also from a recruitment point of view, players, you know, the top players do sort of have the run of... If you're a striker and you're thinking, where am I going to get some goals from? Or if I'm a midfielder, if you play around a player of Fernandes' stature, you're going to look a better player as well.
You're going to get chances,
Yeah,
aren't you?
you're going to get chances. You're going to get bailed out. You're going to win games because, you know, was it 50 million?
It's a steal in these days.
What a bit of business that is. I can't believe no one else went for
I mean,
it,
he's
really.
cheaper than Fred.
Yeah. Jose special that on it, Fred.
I mean, that's when you look at it. It's just
I just
staggering.
I don't want to go over things that I've already said before, but I just look at United's squad and their defence is solid. It's not
They need
great.
a centre back. They need a centre back.
They miss a bit of quality.
Ben White do.
I think you look at it. I think whether Tellers is
That
Ben White is not
5-year deal
playing
at
at Brighton anymore.
No, yeah, played right wing back, Graham Potter special. Yeah,
Gary
he
Neville
was class on the right wing for
lambasted
Leeds
him
last
against
season.
West Ham, didn't he? But now you look at their squad, mate, and in terms of Bruno Fernandes, Van der Beek, Pogba, McTominay, Fred, out wide you've got your likes of Rashford, Martial, who's Cavani as a Igalo still floating around. He's your fifth striker. I mean, I just look at it and think
The
Manchester
Nigerian
United.
Messi.
Yeah. I said
about
Manchester United. Man United had a better squad than Spurs, and somebody laughed at me. There is absolutely no. Even it's an embarrassment to whoever mentions it if you think Spurs are a better squad than Manchester United. They are chalk and cheese.
Spurs are better organised maybe on the pitch,
Absolutely,
but they only have Kane and Son
Spurs
really.
at their peak it can beat Manchester United. There's no
Spurs
doubt.
have got a better starting 11.
Maybe they may well do. Yeah,
As a squad, definitely not.
there's nowhere near.
There's no doubt.
Manchester United can play a second string side and win games in the Premier
Yeah.
League. Spurs cannot play, can drop an 11. You look, I mean, they've got
But on that
Henderson
point-
as a second keeper.
on that point,
the
though-
third one at Romero.
Yeah, but if you drop Fernandes, that's when it's an issue.
He doesn't make him a tick. He won't make you tick.
When you
as
watch
much.
them
He's
against
still
West
got
Ham
some
though in the
good
first
players.
half, they were dreadful. And you bring him on and you win the game.
Yeah, and
So
that's
that's the problem.
the problem.
You are reliant
That
on
is
one
the
player.
problem.
So arguably they've got a better squad, but they are more reliant on one player.
But Leicester won the league with Vardy. You know,
Yeah.
he just
And
stayed
Mahrez.
fit. Yeah,
And Kante.
Yeah.
But
And Albright.
Michael.
Behave.
and
Vardy was the main man that season.
And
Without him,
Drinkwater.
they're not winning that title.
You know,
That's
Jeffrey
a
Schlupp.
fluke.
I agree with that.
having none
They
of
aren't
it.
winning that title without Mahrez.
Vardy.
They are not.
Mate, Vardy broke the Premier League record
He might have
in
done.
15 games. He scored in every game.
11, 12, 11,
It was
12.
15 games in a row. I
No,
think.
it was 12. I think he scored 15 goals in 12.
What Liverpool would do for a player like Vardy at the minute, eh?
Not that much, to be honest with you. Top of the league.
I
But
think
no,
Chelsea
mate, you're
do
wrong.
it.
Mahrez turned it up at the back end of the season. I remember him playing against Manchester City. Sorry, pardon me. Scoring a worldy goal. It was absolute quality, and he got the move. I mean, I said this, I think, to my mate the other day that.
I tell you now, I reckon he'll be gone. Mahrez in a year or
Where
so.
to?
City.
Barca?
I reckon he'll go to the Liga, and I reckon they will sign
Yeah,
a
I
left
reckon
winger who happens to maybe wear a white shirt at Leeds United at the moment.
Rafinha.
Plays on the right.
Genuinely,
so
no.
you'll
I mean,
struggle.
I've got a few Man City fans,
So
and
with
he just
Mahrez.
gets hammered every week. And I think I watched him against us, and I just think he kind of flatters to deceive. I think at Leicester when he was the centrepiece of attention, he was golden, but in that team, he's just one of many, and I think that's
Yeah,
why
he is
I
one
do
of
think
many.
he'll go, and I think there'll be a space there for
I think
somebody.
he'll go. I think they want him to go, but you look at who
Big
are
wages as well.
Who are they going to replace him with?
Yeah,
Well,
well,
it really matters to City.
No, I was going to say the big wages because they stopped Manchester United signing him. They didn't really need him when they signed him, but it started to look a good bit of business now. 2 years down the line,
they've sold Sancho and they've sold Sane in the recent years as well.
Yeah,
so.
Sane is a big miss today. He's in some form.
But the thing is, I think
Bundesliga.
Manchester City can put a string together. Obviously, we can't really talk about them because they've not played any games really. I mean, I think they played. Who did they play?
I mean,
Can't remember.
I think we've glossed over Big Sam versus Klopp. Really, I just don't. I don't think.
I thought we'd been and done that.
No, I just want to sort of dine on it out a bit because the Liverpool for 20 minutes at the start of the game. I don't know if you're aware, but Harry was chiming on, going on and on and on about how good they are.
In the car when he won the league.
And all of a sudden, it's blown the title race wide open again, hasn't it? Let's be honest. You should be beating teams like West Brom at home if you are so-called the best team in England.
I think what
needs to happen in January because you've had another injury now.
I think we've got more points than the United side of 1999 do at the same point in the season. The best side in football, apparently. I don't think it matters, mate. I think once it gets to March is when the business end is. We're not going to walk the league like we did last year.
Are you not going to have a fit
We're
11
top of
the way your injuries are going?
I mean, we're getting everyone back. Thiago's back now.
He's off again. He's missing
you need a centre back, though, don't you? Really? Because
we definitely
saw what
need
happened when Matip or Fabinho went down. You put on Reece Williams. You're there to be got at, and that's the reason why West Brom
turned into an Messi.
That's the reason you drop points at West Brom. And I think if you don't replace or sign somebody with experience, you'll get caught again.
The rumours are, right, that we're not going to sign anyone, but we've heard that before. We've heard that in the summer. We were only going to sign Thiago. We weren't going to sign him. We weren't going to sign anyone else. We signed 3 players. Brilliant bit of business from Liverpool in the summer. Are we going to sign anyone? For me, I think we look to France. I don't know if you've seen, but the payments in France have been deferred 2 payments in a row.
Well, no, they've completely folded. They basically allegedly falsified the figures of how many subscribers, which basically they took every team in Liga and Ligue 2. If that's 1 and 2 for those that aren't
linguist
educated.
at the table.
I don't know if you know, but Harvey's 40% fluent in French.
The Uber Eats French League, and basically they blew out the traditional broadcasters like Canal Plus out the window. Said, look, we're going to do it all online. We're going to do a Netflix model, but they forecasted it that every single fan that attended a game last season would buy a yearly subscription, and lo and behold, the French, not even the COVID, the French. Clubs said, yeah, no worries, didn't put a down payment down, didn't scrutinise the deal, they just wanted the money. It was €3 billion, and now they've only had one portion of the payment, and the league's absolutely moosed.
All the sides are absolutely scrambled. So I think you can
everything on the
you can find a really good bargain from sort of maybe a Marseille sort of level club where these sides need the money. I think that's the only place Liverpool will go, because I think you'll be able to go. Everyone knows Liverpool need a centre back. They come call into Southampton. They go into for whoever it is in the league. You add 15 million. It's done. Because there's a tax, isn't there? That you know what I mean. There's an extra because it's a necessity. And I think Liverpool will get a deal done in France.
January as well,
Maguire,
isn't it?
That's classic.
But no, I think unless there's anything else from the weekend, obviously what got
steady.
What?
I said Maguire was a panic buy.
Well, terrible buy.
Basically bought him for his forehead.
Southampton seem to have dropped off a bit. Brighton, obviously Arsenal got 2 results, which is impressive. Sheffield United continue to they're going for that derby record. They're going to compete.
Can someone please explain how Chris Wilder's got a job still?
Yeah, no idea.
Well, because they're going to get promoted next season. That's why.
No, but I'm all for looking after people who get you up. But then I think there's got to be a point where you judge the results. And to me, how many points got? 3?
2.
The thing on fucking hell, that's overstated.
2 after 16.
But to me, you need to make a change, and I don't know who they get because there's not many coaches out there. But they need to get somebody who's going to. They need that rise that comes with a new coach.
I'd have agreed with you 6
no
weeks
point
ago.
now.
I'd have agreed with you 6 weeks ago. They're gone.
They're done.
So who is the best placed manager to bring them back up? Very much sort of similar to the way that Burnley stuck with Sean Dyche. I think Chris Wilder at this point now makes sense to stick with him and build for the Championship.
Yeah, and
you're done and dusted. They've got
Farke's doing well at Norwich. And
I think. But the difference with Sheffield United is. Whereas there was difference with Burnley and Norwich. Burnley and Norwich shouldn't have stayed in the league, as in they were both one of the worst 3 sides. And I think if a manager is sort of struggling around that bottom 3, I don't think you can criticise them too much. Look at Dean Smith last year. They were absolutely one of the worst 3 or 4 sides in the league. They stayed up and he's built on it. Chris Wilder did a good job last year. They should never have been going down this season, and they're done already. And for me, I think you're right. If you'd have said 6, 7, 8 weeks ago, Big Sam or somebody like that, a notorious manager, I think I'd have agreed with you. At this point, you've got to stick with Chris Wilder and go, hope, because it's just another waste of money. You're going to have to pay on more contracts, and they're not going to be. I mean, they brought Ryan Brewster, and I said it at the start of the season, terrible signing, terrible gamble, and it's an absolute embarrassment that they've signed.
What was it, 25 million?
25 million.
But also,
Michael Edwards, eat your heart out.
Yeah, but also I was listening to Talk Sport this morning, and some guy reckons that Sheffield United will stay up because Ryan Brewster's going to get his chance and score a load of goals, and I was like, Jesus. I mean,
played every game.
He's had a chance, and he's had an absolute shocker. But no, I mean, and also
to wrap it up.
Well, I was just going to mention another Sheffield club that for a lot of years we were mocked and derided, and Leeds were falling apart again. That's where where the song originated from, down at Hillsborough with their 6 fingers and their cousins hand in hand down at Hillsborough. But no, it's a real shame to see Sheffield Wednesday in turmoil, to be honest, because it is. I mean,
you look devastated.
Oh, I'm
watching on YouTube. You can see the tears in his eyes. I might have to zoom in.
I mean, Michael Vaughan, he used to give it the big and every Wednesday, this and that, and has anyone seen Michael Vaughan? Because that is magical. They're going to go down to League One, and I'm sure all these Sheffield United fans listening will take some comfort in the fact that Wednesday are going down, and it is great to see. And Chansiri is a ladyboy. Oh, no, he's not really, allegedly.
Right, we'll end on that one. Thank you for listening, ladies and gentlemen. We're going to be dropping some other stuff in the coming weeks on YouTube, and maybe a compilation podcast of our year in review, which I'm looking forward to, touching upon a bit of football, a bit of boxing, rugby, cricket, all different stuff. Going to be a lot on YouTube. If you haven't subscribed already, could you please do that? Have a look on social media. This has been obviously recorded. We're together, which is nice to do. It's obviously on video if you want to have a look on our pretty faces.
Halves Tips having a couple of days off, actually.
Halves Tips had a big day off but we're going to mention that on the end of year one.
Yeah, end of year one, but all those that are waiting for my next Halves Tips. We did have our Halves Tips win.
Big day at Catterick.
But Catterick got the better of Halves Tips.
Going all over the place, wasn't it?
Catterick had a couple of these, the value of these CBD oils, I mean, maybe about 6 or 7
the trackside bucket, Catterick got his Christmas bonus, that's for sure.
Sponsored by HGB.
HGCBD.co.uk, mate.
It's a right mouthful.
It is a mouthful, actually. Take one a day. A day keeps the doctors away.
All right, love you and leave you.
All best, God bless.